Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Cohn Phone. I'm the Cohn guy, Grant Cohn. Going to be talking about the Niners. I'm going to take your calls for the next hour, but as always, I have a little preamble, what's on my mind, so I can stimulate some conversation amongst the group. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm in Seattle. I've been here a lot of times. My lovely wife is right here. I've been here a lot of times, and I've been here when the Niners have been expected to win, when they've been expected to lose. One way or another, the Niners lose. Since Russell Wilson has been the quarterback of the Seahawks, he's 10-1 against the Niners in Seattle, and I just kind of expect. It's the only really experience I've ever had covering this team is watching the Niners lose up here. But the Niners have won 3 of their last games. They've won 3 in a row. The Seahawks have lost 3 in a row, and pretty much everyone in the country is predicting the Niners to win this game. Everyone in the country. I am. No one in their right mind would predict the Seahawks to win this game. But let's step back a little bit. This is a place the Niners haven't had success in a decade, and these teams played each other already. Week 4 in Santa Clara, and the Seahawks won by 6. This is a game in which Deebo Samuel played. Deebo Samuel played in that game, went for like 156 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, Niners lost. Fred Warner played, Niners lost. They outgained the Seahawks by about 220 yards, still lost. Kind of interesting. Now they're playing up here where it's a tougher matchup without Deebo Samuel and Fred Warner. Everyone's picking the Niners to win. Well, let's do the math real quick. Kyle Shanahan goes on the radio yesterday and says, look, don't get ahead of ourselves here. The Seahawks are actually way better than their record. I bet you this game is going to come down to the final possession. That's what he said. I bet you. I've never heard a coach predict how a game's going to unfold. It seemed highly irregular, but when I thought about it, I was thinking, well, he's right. This is going to be a very close game. And here's the math Kyle Shanahan's doing. Here's why he says it's going to be so close. The Niners are on a 3-game winning streak because they run the ball 40 times a game. The last 3 games, against the Rams, they ran it 44 times. Against the Jaguars, 42 times. And against the Vikings, 39 times. That's their formula. Run it 40 times. Have the ball for essentially like 2/3 of the game. Run the ball two times for every 1 pass. That's their formula. And why have they been able to do it? A lot of people giving Kyle Shanahan the credit. Got back to his identity. A lot of people giving Jimmy Garoppolo the credit. Can't sustain those drives without those big 3rd down conversions. Yeah, But let's be real. What's the real reason why the Niners have run the ball so well? What's the real reason the Niners have controlled the time of possession the last 3 games? Deebo freaking Samuel and turnovers. The Niners weren't getting a lot of turnovers at the beginning of the season, and they weren't forcing them either. The last couple of games, they've been +2 each game, really, on average, in the turnover margin, in the turnover column. That helps. Also, Deebo freaking Samuel. This is a team that wants to run a lot, and everyone knows they want to run a lot. And over the last 3 games, Deebo is averaging 9.5 yards a carry. That's essentially a first down every time he gets a handoff. It's outrageous. If you were averaging 5 yards a carry, you'd say, wow, this guy's elite. 9.5 yards a carry. He is the run. He's basically half of the run production right there. The rest of the team in this dominant 3-game stretch where no one can stop the Niners run game, the rest of the team, 3.5 yards a carry. 3.3 yards per carry. Less than 3.5. And that's with Elijah Mitchell, who's at a respectable 4.2 yards per carry in this stretch, but he can't run the ball 40 times on his own. Other people have to come in. Jeff Wilson Jr. not really doing very well. So why are the Niners running the ball so well? Deebo. And these turnovers. So Deebo's not in the game. Now you're coming into a game with a rushing attack that's been averaging 3.3 yards per carry without Deebo the last 3 games. And you're facing a team that doesn't turn the ball over. Seahawks, I think, have the fewest giveaways in the league. They're a terrible offense, but they don't beat themselves. That's what they didn't have any turnovers when they beat the Niners earlier this year. Also, their defense last 3 games, giving up 3.3 yards per carry, good against the run. Do you see what Kyle Shanahan, the math he's doing here? He's looking and he's thinking, I don't know if we're going to run the ball that well this week. No Deebo. Our run game actually hasn't been as good as people think. We're going up against a good run defense. This could be rough. And it seems to me that I don't see how they're going to get to 40 carries here. with Elijah Mitchell and JaMychal Hasty, who hasn't played in a month, and Jeff Wilson Jr., I don't see how they get to 40 carries. I don't see how they get to 30. So this is going to be tough. And so why is the run game not more productive right now? Why are the numbers so down? Well, if the defense knows you want to run primarily, every time Jimmy Garoppolo hands off, he's out of the play. It's now 10 on 11. The running back and his 9 blockers against 11 defenders, they're outmanned. There's only so much you can get. And Elijah Mitchell, who's a hell of a running back, he's getting a lot of yards after contact. If he's averaging 4.2 yards per carry, he's probably averaging 3 yards after contact per carry. He's good. But it's a very compressed field right now because the quarterback is not a factor in the run game. Deebo Samuel doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who's the quarterback. He's going to average 10 yards a carry. He's that great. He can transcend the limitations of this offense, but Elijah Mitchell can't. So here's what has to happen in this game. If the run game doesn't work, can the Niners win? So far, their formula this year is if they can run, they can win. If they can't, they usually lose. So are they going to give up on the run game and say, Jimmy, win it through the air? Maybe he'll do that. But when they've asked him to do that this year, whether he's played well or not, they've usually lost. All of a sudden, they don't execute well. If they're passing a lot, Tom Compton's going to give up a few sacks. He gave up 2 last week. If they're passing a lot, they could have interceptions, fumbles. It seems like those mistakes happen more when they pass. So you could say, well, you know what? This is a game where Jimmy's going to have to win it for the 49ers. Or you could say this is going to be a game where Jimmy's going to lose this. They're not going to have the run game. It's going to be on Jimmy, and he's going to struggle like he has every time against the Seahawks. He's 1-4 against them in his career with a quarterback rating in the 60s. The last 2 times he's faced him, he hasn't made it through the game. He's gotten injured and played poorly, and the Niners have lost. So if history repeats itself, if the Niners run game continues to be what it is without Deebo, if the Seahawks run defense continues to be what it is, and Jimmy has another typical performance against the Seahawks, the Niners are in a lot of trouble, guys. This is a trap game. They're in a lot of trouble if it goes like this, and that's why Kyle said what he said. Now I'm picking the Niners to win because I think they have a way to beat them. I think they have an answer here. It's Trey Lance. It seems to me, if you get Trey Lance in the field, I think he gives the Niners the best chance to win this game. I would start him. I know they won't, but the sooner they get him in, the better. Because if you want to run the ball, when he's on the field, it's 11 on 11 football, not 10 on 11. And so just the threat of him keeping it and running should increase yards per carry across the board. It should. So instead of averaging 4.2 yards per carry, which is what the Niners have done, even with Deebo, but 3 points, instead of averaging at 3.3 yards per carry, they've had the last 3 weeks without Deebo. Put Trey Lance in the game, that could be 5 yards a carry as a team. What's more, Trey Lance can run. So you can get to 40 carries as opposed to just Elijah Mitchell running 20 to 25 times and then giving the rest of the carries to Jeff Wilson Jr., who's going to average nothing. Give him to Trey Lance, and he can average another 5 yards a carry, and you can control the game the way you want to control it. Seems to me that gives the Niners the best chance to win. The other thing about it is we've seen Trey Lance against the Seahawks. The first time these teams played, Jimmy Garoppolo played the first half, Lance played the second half. The offense functioned better with Lance in the game. They scored 6 points with Jimmy, 14 points with Lance in the same amount of time. Lance's quarterback rating in that half was 115, 117. It was clear that the Seahawks had a plan to shut down Jimmy and the Niners offense with him, and were completely unprepared to stop a Niners offense with Trey Lance. I feel like Trey Lance and the Trey Lance offense can beat a bad Seahawks team. I'm not sure that a Jimmy Garoppolo offense can beat a bad Seahawks team without Deebo because he couldn't do it earlier in the season with Deebo. I'm concerned the Niners are going to lose this game because they're not going to go to Trey Lance quickly enough. Now, maybe I'm not giving Jimmy Garoppolo enough credit here. 1-4 career against Seattle, already lost to him this year. No Deebo Samuel. They're not going to have a run game. He's in trouble. He's going to have a really good game passing with Tom Compton protecting him. I don't know, guys. Got a bad feeling about this. They need to get Trey Lance in ASAP. I'd start him, but I'm crazy. All right, let's take some calls. Boom. Is that convincing? My wife thought I was convincing. Thank you. As long as she's very smart. She's more discerning than me. We both went to UCLA. She was smart. Is smart. All right, let me get the banner up just in case. Korean 49er. I'll put the banner up for you if you ain't ready. Hey, man.
How are you doing, Grant?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I got a little bit of a cold over Thanksgiving, but I'll get over it. But
Me
hopefully
too.
you'll get, huh?
Me too.
Yep.
Yep.
Hopefully you and your wife will go to the Pike Place Market and look over some of the nice items they have there, food and trinket wise.
Well, it's really, really rainy today, but yeah, hopefully we get a chance.
Yep. I see two keys to this game. With the Seattle offensive line looking like Swiss cheese at times, the hopefully the defensive line will put lots of pressure on Russell Wilson and limit their running game, because it looks like their offense is kind of on tough times.
Yeah.
And then the second key is I would like to see more passes to the tight ends, because I think their defense, the Seattle defense, is not what it used to be either. And I'd like to see if Kyle and the offense could find ways to do that.
That's interesting. I'm with you. I'd like them to get the ball back to Dwelly. The last time I think he got a target, the last time he caught a ball was against Seattle. It was a touchdown. But the way I'm looking at, like, we're talking keys to this game, good topic. To me, I'm coming back to the run game. How can the Niners run the ball 40 times? Passing isn't what they want to do. They want to run 2 times for every 1 pass. So how do they get to their magic number of 40, which is what they've pretty much hit the last 3 weeks? Got any ideas?
Do you think they could run a few more screens and draws?
They could do that, yeah. I mean, they could use Hasty, Wilson. They could use a 3-headed monster at running back. But, it's a pretty good run defense in Seattle. I'm just saying. It's a pretty good run defense. They got Bobby Wagner. They got Jordan Brooks.
Yep. My thing is, I just don't want to see Elijah Mitchell getting the ball more than 20 times, because he's been taking a beating in some of the wins because of all the carries he's been taking for the team.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Prediction: will Trey Lance play in this game? Yes or no, and why?
Based on the track record of Kyle this season, I say it'll be very minimal at best, if at all. But hopefully the team will pull it out, because if they think they want to make the playoffs or have a chance to them, you got to defeat a down-and-out Seattle team and slay the dragon at some point.
That would be the time. This is the weakest the dragon has been.
Yep. So, Thank you, Grant. You have a nice time in Seattle.
Great to talk to you. Take care.
Thank you too.
All right. Let me take this banner down. Jose, OG, what's up?
What's going on, Grant?
How you doing, man?
Doing good about yourself?
I'm all right.
I think the whole Seattle thing, in terms of them being able to stop the run, I think it's for 2 things. I think one, I think it's more of a Kyle issue, like when it comes to his play calling, because since he's been in San Francisco as our head coach, Seattle, what they like to do, since we run a zone blocking scheme, they put 5 on the line, and kind of do what New England did against the Rams in the Super Bowl. So every time they face us, that's what they do. So Kyle kind of sometimes abandons the run after like the first quarter because of that front. It gives us issues. I don't know if it's just because of execution, or maybe it's just better play calling. He needs to do better play calling. But
I think he feels it's like it's a premium look to pass, and you have to take what the defense gives.
Exactly. Because then you put them in
it's like, okay, well, like we're going to take you out of your identity right now and dictate to you. So that's fine. Take what we give you. It's fine. We'll live with Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where we get in trouble, is when, even though it's a good look, and the corners in Seattle have not been good,
right?
It doesn't really matter, because Jimmy, all it takes is Jimmy to either fumble the ball from a hit, or for him to make a bad decision and to throw it to Bobby Wagner in the chest. So, it kind of that's what makes it frustrating, is you want to run the ball, but Kyle sees that front and he gets skittish and he goes straight to the passing game.
Do you remember the first drive against Seattle week 4?
I do not remember off the top of my head. No.
Okay. It was pass, touchdown. I don't think they made it. They may not have run one time, and it was again. Seattle showed some front that was basically like daring them to pass, and Kyle's like, "All right, here we go." And Kyle's
it's when they put 5 on the line. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fine. Hey, we took you out of your game plan right away. Great, and they won.
Yeah, it's just. I think when Kyle sees that, though, he just feels that his offense can't be what it wants to be, and he feels like it's limited to the passing game. And that's the thing, though, too, is even though there's that kind of front you got going on, which is basically an odd front, you can't stray away from your identity. You got to still stick to it, because then you're keeping them honest. You have to make them adjust to what you're doing, not the other way around, especially if you're trying to run the ball 40 times like you're mentioning. I definitely do think as well that I think this is more of like a game where I'm going to be watching for Seattle's offense more than their defense, or should I say their offense against our defense rather than, our offense against their defense, because Russell Wilson just always gives us problems. Even though their offense is having a down year, they just need Alex Collins to give them like 3.5 yards a carry, and I think Russell will be able to figure out the rest. Especially with DK. DK being a bigger receiver has always given us problems. So Josh Norman is going to be guaranteed at least one defensive holding or pass interference call, because he's more than likely going to go against DK. At least that's what I think they're going to do. So I'm definitely still worried about Russell and what DK and the passing game can do to our defense more than what our offense or what their defense can do to our offense.
Good call, Jose. I like the art in the background too. You really stepped up your.
Oh yeah, this right here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
nice.
If you like that, you like the Christmas tree. They put a big Christmas.
Oh, that was beautiful. Love it. All right, man. I got to bounce. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy holidays.
Later. Same to you. Real quick, Dave Barclay says Bosa needs 2 sacks in this game, and our defense needs to destroy Russell. Jimmy Ward and Aziz both need picks. Let's run all over them. Yeah, that's a good keys to victory. Raymond, man, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. What's up?
All right. So in this game, one of the things you were talking about is how can they establish the run.
Mm-hmm.
They might not be able to establish it the way they want to without Debo. I think it is a big factor losing Debo. He's the best player on the field right now in games on both sides of the ball. No matter who's on the field, he's usually just been the best player at all times.
Agree.
So you take that guy off the field, it definitely changes things. I think in this game, they need to get creative more so with, like, I would say, original West Coast offense in terms of getting the running backs out of the backfield on passing plays to supplement the run game. Instead of just bulldozing into walls all the time, they have backs like Elijah Mitchell, who I think earlier in the year, even before the season started, I got to attend that little, training camp thing they did at Santa Clara. And when they did it, one of the things was watching Elijah in his pass drills. And I didn't understand. I didn't know he was that good in terms of his like crispness on his route running. Mm-hmm. Like the dude looked like a seasoned vet coming out of the backfield.
In the one-on-one drills? Yeah.
So I think, in the one-on-ones, man, he was roasting. I think he roasted, I want to say it was Greenlaw. And then I think he burned somebody else, and it wasn't even close. Like, the separation was, it was glaring. So I think in this game, I think we can see them use Jeff and Elijah Mitchell a lot more with short passing plays out of the backfield.
That's clever. I like that.
Seattle's linebackers, Bobby Wagner is really good, disciplined linebacker. The other kid, Brooks, is really good. But with speed, especially Elijah's speed, I think his difference in the pass game hopefully will be he'll get more involved in this game. I think there'll be more touches to go around now. Also for Jeff Wilson. They overused him in that game where he came back recently from the injury. I think they ran him like 22 times. And for me, I was like, damn, Jeff just came back. I don't think that was the greatest idea. And it seemed like last week they made a concerted effort to not even really use him, really.
I just don't see any juice with Jeff Wilson Jr. If they could get something from JaMychal Hasty, that would be great. Because he's got, when he's healthy, he's got a little juice.
The thing was, though, is when we did play with Jeff, I don't think Jeff's game's ever really just fully been built on speed. Yeah, he's got decent speed. But Jeff is the type of running back where even in that game where he wasn't averaging a lot of yards, it's his physical he imposes his physicality for the offense. And I feel like that's why what Elijah Mitchell is doing right now is so much more impressive. Because I would say before Elijah Mitchell, Jeff was probably the only back I felt like that we had who at least established a physical presence. And Elijah's pretty special, man. To be able to also do what he was doing last week, where it was like, damn, every play where I thought he wasn't going to get anything, I mean, the dude was still pushing for 3 and 4 yards. And I haven't seen a back who's not overly big in a long time be able to do that. The last running back, I think, for us, the 49ers, who figured out how to get small and get through places, was Frank. And I'm no way comparing it at all. I'm just saying when you see a back who's not the biggest in stature, but still finds a way to get through and push for yards, Elijah's been really impressive. So let's see if they can get them involved a lot more in the pass game in this game instead of just, because they're going to have to get creative. We know we've seen the different fronts that Pete Carroll throws at us, and they're always a well-coached team, man. I mean, they're always going to be competitive. Russ is still Russ. Even though he's not the greatest, he still can do stupid stuff like he did against Washington on that last drive. So let's see how it goes.
Good call, Raymond. Great to hear from you.
All right, man. Yep.
All right. Just a sec. Carlos says Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Sounders, Seattle Kraken, Seattle Mariners, or even Seattle Supersonics, Niners by 10. Let's go, faithful. Thank you, Carlos. Please shout Seahawks suck inside the stadium. Man, I'm not a fan. They suck, but they don't need me to tell them. They already know. Grant. Thank you for doing what you do. I watch you every day. My new ritual after work. Die-hard Niner fan now in Montana. Thank you, Dave. That's very nice of you. All right, let's get back to the show. Karan, how are you?
How are you?
I'm great.
So listen, they are 6-5.
You're a little quiet. Can you get closer to the thing? I'm trying to make sure this is. Bring it in.
Can you hear me now or no?
A little bit. Yeah. It's a little quiet. Is he quiet for anyone else?
It's a little quiet.
It's a little quiet. That's all right. You'll be good. You project well.
So, essentially, they are on the same track as Tampa Bay was last year. If they win this game, they'll be 7-5. Tampa was 7-5. I think the thing that everyone's forgetting is that somewhere along the way, they remembered how to tackle the running back.
Nah, man, you're hella quiet. Hold on. Leave and come back in. Leave and come back in. We'll fix this because we got to make this count. We got to make this count. He's too quiet. I'm gonna jump back in. Hold on. Norman will be a detriment against DK or Lockett. Their keys to victory will be Wilson outside the pocket and pass. Watch, love your show. You're always speaking facts, my guy. Respect. Thank you, G.I. Jones. Norman, I'm curious to see. You would think a divisional opponent would know and would go after Norman like that. All right, I'm going to let So Real Sunil pop in real quick. What's up, man?
What's up, Big Grant? Shout out to your wife.
How you doing?
Shout out to your wife, the real gangster of the family. Let her get some love for being there.
Sunil says shout out to you.
And Grant, I love the new hair, brother. So
anyways,
thanks, man. So I have an overreaction that why I think this game might be setting up to be extremely important for the 49ers future. And I want you to hear me out and then give me your take. So in 2017, Jimmy G got traded to the team, started winning, and they gave him a big contract. 2018, he was unhealthy. And so in that year, they gave up on Cousins, stuck with Jimmy G. 2018, he was unhealthy. 2019, he came back healthy. They won, went to the Super Bowl. This quarterback you might have heard of by the name of Tom Brady was available and wanting to play for the 49ers. They passed on him and, stuck with Jimmy. So now Jimmy's back again on the team winning. This is a game that Debo isn't going to be there. Like you said, it's unlikely. I know you said you want Trey to start, but it's unlikely he's going to play much because we haven't seen him play.
Right.
If Jimmy looks good against a divisional team, they go out and they dominantly defeat this team with Jimmy playing well, Debo not in the game, Fred Warner not in the game. Shanahan has shown that he likes Jimmy when Jimmy's winning. Mm-hmm. They've given up on Tom. They didn't go with Tom Brady, who we know is, the GOAT. They didn't go with Kirk Cousins, who was one of his favorite quarterbacks at the time. If they look really, really good without Debo and Jimmy looks, whatever way Jimmy looks, there's a good chance that maybe Jimmy comes back next season because they're winning with him. He's healthy. I don't know. And if they're not, it just doesn't look like, Trey really is the quarterback that Shanahan is like pushing.
Okay, that's interesting. Let me give you my take on that. This feels like a playoff game, and if Jimmy loses it, it would be bad for him. It would be real bad for his time in the Niners. But if he wins it, I see where you're coming from. It would feel like a showcase for him. The running game may not be there. He doesn't have Debo. He might have to win this game and be the reason why they win it, be the MVP of it. Still, though, dude, I mean, if he wins this game and goes to the playoffs and loses in the first round and he's the reason they lose, they'll scapegoat him. So I think he still has more to do. And I think what's ultimately going to decide whether he comes back next year is what he does in the playoffs. Is that fair? Is that a measured
Absolutely.
take? Is that a measured take?
I think it's a great measured take. But What if we get Dallas first round, Green Bay second round? Two teams that we could beat in spite of Jimmy. Do they give Jimmy the credit or not? That's what I'm saying. Like, it just seems like it'd be something that's set up where next season we're talking about Jimmy still with the team.
Hey, I mean, I think John Lynch wants to keep him, man. John Lynch traded for him. John Lynch liked him. John Lynch only says the nicest things about him. I think Kyle's been the one that's been trying to move on from Jimmy for a long time. So I think it's to be determined. I think there's definitely pro-Jimmy factions on the team, and how the season ends will pretty much determine this. So to be determined. So Sunil, great to see you, man. Great to hear you.
Take care, my man.
Later. All right, let me get that off. Oh, hold on. Not your turn yet. Karan.
Better?
Let's see. I'm glad we did that. Okay, great.
Okay. So let me start all over again.
Sure.
To me, essentially the turnaround has been the run defense. I mean, where was this run defense the first quarter of the season? They're actually tackling people. They've gone from like the worst run defense to either middle of the pack or top 10 at least, statistically. And I think that is more, shielding the secondary, because 3rd and 4, they get touchy. Josh Norman gets grabby. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, they play a little more physical. They're getting away with some things. They can't get away. They're probably the worst 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 team I've ever seen, conversion-wise, on defense. But now that they're actually playing on the first 2 downs, I think you're seeing a much markedly improved defense. And they don't have to be good, Grant. They just got to be middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
They got to be middle of the road, and Bosa's got to close the game. That's essentially their winning formula. And if they win this game, they're 7-5, much like Tampa Bay was last year, and they went on their run, right? The one thing I will say is that this is the game, if there was a game, that George Kittle probably needs to remind us that he's an active member of the 49ers roster, because he can block. The heck with the 5-man fronts. You have George Kittle. He should be able to negate some of that. He should be the one catching those screen passes and running down the field and making Bobby Wagner fatigued by the 4th quarter. He should be down the middle. If he wants to pass the ball, let him pass the ball to George Kittle. Make him at least 7, 8, 9 receptions. But the problem is that they can't execute that very well, can they? They can't. When they do that, something terribly goes wrong. Either a fumble happens, a blown assignment happens, a sack happens, an interception happens, a tip ball happens.
Take your pick.
I think take your pick, right? And I think, this is going to be a very big series of games that are coming up. It's going to be interesting what Kyle does. Is Kyle going to revert back to what he does, which is, so schematically that doesn't make any sense? Or does he do it like winning coaches like John Harbaugh does, who says, forget about it. This is what we do well. We're going to do it until we lose and we have no other choice.
Right.
You won't dictate to us what we can do and can't do.
Right.
I think that's going to be really the key. And, Trey.
It's easy to dictate, though, when you have Debo Samuel. I'm just saying. Easy to dictate when you got a guy averaging a first down a carry.
You know what? Debo was really great, but this is where you have your other players step up. And Kittle wasn't in that last game, right? Nope. I believe he was still he was put on IR, right?
He was blocking. He was blocking in that game. He was
a
designated blocker. Oh, no. Right. Oh, so in the last game? No, he was not in that. You're right.
Okay. Well, to me.
Hold on. I think he did play that game. No, I think he played that game. I don't think he practiced the week before. Hold the phone. Let me make sure.
Yeah. I remember Dwelly catching a nice touchdown pass.
Yeah, you might be right. That's a good point.
Underthrown by Jimmy for a couple yards.
No, he played in that game.
You did play in that game.
He played.
Okay.
He had 10 targets,
Okay.
4 catches, 40 yards.
Again, it's got to be the same thing if they're going to be competitive. That game should have been 21-0 in the first half.
Yeah.
They were rolling. And you know what? They could not punch it in, and they let Russell hang around. I don't care. Russell is in the same breath as Aaron Rodgers. You don't want that. You got to step on their throat when the time is right, or else they're going to do what they do best is, throw a 60-yard pass to DK Metcalf, break your heart, and then we're soul searching again. We can't
That's
have
what's crazy
any
about
of
this
that.
game is that the Seahawks have the big play element that could flip the game, and the Seahawks are the team that doesn't really turn the ball over. So Niners better be on it.
No, and you know what? If they have to dump off, because you know what? I saw Alex Smith beat Seattle just dumping the ball off to Frank Gore and the other running backs the whole entire game. I think it was like 18 for 19, and they won. I would much rather have that than what Kyle would want to do is push the field down the field, because you know what? That is just a recipe for disaster, and that is when bad things happen. And Kyle doesn't. The most disappointing thing about this team is that the adversity that they try to adjust just isn't there anymore. They're still a front running team. They were in 2019, but I feel like it's gone to another level. They can't dig themselves out of holes like they used to. Much not like before, where even if they're down a couple of touchdowns, you're like, okay, it'll be fine. Now it's almost like things need to happen, break their way. It's because of a talent level. I get it, but that big explosive element isn't there anymore. And I think that's what's going to cause, Kyle to really soul search and be like, I have to do this. Whether it's working or not, it's who we are, and they've got to execute essentially the best they can. And who knew Tom Compton was going to be the unsung hero of the season, by the way?
Good run blocker. I can see why he likes him. Terrible in pass protection, though. Cohn, great call. Great to see you.
I'll see you later.
All right, have a good one. All right, 88. I'm jumping someone. You're next, but I got to put Silverado Kev in front of you because he writes for me. It's a privilege. But then you're after him. What's up?
Grant. What up, G?
What's going on, man?
Hey, man. It's been a minute. First of all, I want to say, Sunil, if you're still in here, it's too early to be drinking. But
I saw you and you were like, dude, what are you talking about? That was the best part. That was the best part. Yeah.
I'm like, come
There's
on.
a waiting room,
Super,
and I can see everyone's faces. You were. It was priceless. Yeah. So funny.
See, I don't know all that, but now
he was trying to get me to agree to something I wasn't going to agree to. He was like, "Isn't that reasonable?" I was like, "I don't think so, man. I don't think so."
There's nothing. Look, there's nothing Jimmy can do to dress up himself anymore. I mean, we know what
he's the same old Jimmy every week. That's the problem.
Right. And look, and don't get me wrong, and I've said this a gazillion different times. The guy makes big boy throws sometimes. He
does.
Orchestrates long drives sometimes as he's the quarterback, but then he'll turn around and, you're like, what was this? Good Jimmy versus bad Jimmy. But speaking of Jimmy, I've heard a lot of people say keys to victory and X factors. Jimmy Garoppolo. Because
thank you.
What Debo missing in the running game, and I'm actually writing my preview right now too. At the same time we're talking,
nice.
So this may sound redundant, but
yeah,
but no, I mean I'm just saying, man, that with Debo being missing in the running game and being such a vital part of it, they're gonna now have to put the ball back in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands.
The game is on Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulders, right? For the first time in a minute,
and
for the first time since they played Arizona a month ago.
Outside of maybe the New Orleans game, I've never seen Jimmy just throw the ball excessively and we win. You know what I'm saying? So, excuse me, I don't know, bro.
And he's had a very rough time against Seattle. Even when Seattle isn't good.
Speaking of which, remember the last time we faced a Seattle team who was a dumpster fire and they was last in passing defense, and yeah.
That was last year, right?
Right, yeah.
84 yards in Seattle. 84 yards he threw for before he left with another high ankle sprain. I'm just saying, hey, man, I would start Trey Lance. I know I'm crazy, but I would start Trey Lance. I think that would change the whole equation of this game. It'd put him back in a position where they could run 40 times.
I don't know if I would start Trey Lance as much as I want to see Lance, because
I'd have a short leash. I wouldn't let Jimmy Garoppolo lose this game for me, man, if it was going that direction.
I don't think they prepared him enough to start. Just is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not ready as a player.
You're right.
But I would throw him in there though to try to compensate for Debo being missing. You see what I'm saying? So
because Debo will give you about 6 carries a game. Man, Lance could give you 6K. Last time he played against the Seahawks, he ran 7 times for 41 yards. I'll take that.
See, I don't want him to be design runs though. You know,
I want him outside the tackle,
be natural
on the perimeter,
right?
Yeah,
play action or something. You know, so like I said, Jimmy Garoppolo and this run defense, because I don't think Russ is still right yet with that finger. Have you noticed he's been looking kind of off?
He'll miss some throws like. You used to nail that. What the hell? Yeah,
exactly. But don't let that fool you. It's not a trap game. I think it's going to be a slap game. Who gets slapped around the most? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, this is a division opponent. They already play as tough. So, Jimmy Garoppolo and the run defense would dictate what Russ does.
Yeah, the run defense without Fred Warner.
That's my take on it.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, Aziz, I like
step
you.
up.
You know what I'm saying? I think he'll step up.
Be a legend. All right, man. Good to see you.
All right, bro. Yeah.
Eager to read the preview. Take care. Jackson says, who will be the X factor for the Niners and Hawks? Jimmy Garoppolo and Russell Wilson. That's kind of weak. How about Tom Compton and Jamal Adams? I don't know. The quarterbacks. All right, it's time. 88 49er.
My man, what's going on?
Great to see you, man. How are you?
Likewise. I'm all right. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Having a great morning.
Good. Man, I forgot that's that left coast situation. I've been trapped over here on the East Coast. It's been afternoon for an hour already.
Yeah, Seattle's one of my favorite spots on the West Coast. It's only about an hour and a half flight, and I had some of the best sushi in my life. The best sushi of my life. Like, never had anything like it. Anyway, we need to talk about sushi.
We have to talk about that. Let me see if I can answer a couple of your questions. I do not believe this is a trap game. I do believe this is a game where we show the world what time it is. And that's completely up to us. If we win, it's like, hey, they're back, they're for real. Watch out for these boys, they can make some noise. If we lose, it doesn't really mean anything except for we're not where us as fans would want to be. That's what it means. It's not a trap though. How can we win? Well, I'll answer that 2 different ways. The best way is what you suggest, which I don't think we're going to see because we haven't really seen it all season unless we were forced to. Put Trey Lance on the field, 11 against 11, and let the athletes.
Run the damn ball.
Yeah, let the athletes. Make it happen.
Yeah.
But Kyle being Kyle, I don't think we're going to see that.
No.
However, I do still think we can win this game, and it's not up to Jimmy. It's actually up to Kyle. The reason I say that is because Kyle knows exactly what he has in Jimmy Garoppolo. He knows his capabilities. He knows his flaws. And what we need is for superior play calling and to be taken consideration of Jimmy Garoppolo's abilities. What that means is give me some well-executed misdirection plays, right? Out to the left, out to the right, action to the right, one back to the left, maybe some fakes to the right, up the middle. The other thing you can do with Jimmy, and this would be the part where you're taking into account his abilities. Give me some short play action, wheel route, quick slant type throws. The reason that's important is because you guys have been saying that they're a great run defense. That's good. I like great run defense because when you have that means those guys are hungry. That means those guys are greedy. That means they over pursue. So if you've done an excellent job at giving a fake or a play action and making them think the play's go left and you're going right, we're off to the races.
Hey, remember, I think it was the last time they won in Seattle, correct me if I'm wrong, they went down and immediately Kyle Shanahan called that deep pass for Juszczyk up the sideline and boom, they were back in business. That is a play they can go back to in this game, the deep throw to Juszczyk.
Because nobody expects the fullback. Nobody ever, as great as he is and as many times as he's done it, he's still rather unassuming. Yeah. And that's another one of those things where he's chipped somebody and he's off to the field with the eyes to the defender looking the other way, which is why he's always wide open. Yep. That's that thing about the misdirection.
And that's a deep throw Jimmy can hit. That's a deep throw Jimmy can hit.
Jimmy can hit him. I mean, Jimmy can hit it because he's usually wide open.
It's a layup. Yeah, it's a layup.
You know, aside from that pass to Ayuk last week, I really haven't seen him throw too many of those big-time, big boy throws like that. I mean, that was a great pass. It was a great pass. It was triple defenders. But that's not really Jimmy Garoppolo. We all know that. We all know that. That's why we think it was such a great thing. If it was something that happens every week, we'd almost expect it.
Yeah, but you see what happens. He'll throw those passes 15 yards over the middle into triple coverage, and he'll hit them sometimes, but also get picked sometimes. I mean, there's a reason there's so many people there. Everyone knows where the ball's going when Jimmy's the quarterback.
And that's the other thing I wanted to say about Trey. Thank you for reminding me. Is that if you put Trey in the game, you don't even have to run him. You don't even have to run him. If you run the same exact offense, this is a little bit nuanced here. But when Jimmy hikes that ball, he's actually giving play fakes. The problem is nobody believes him because it's Jimmy.
Thank you. Just the threat of Trey Lance on the field changes everything.
Yes.
And it should increase yards per carry, just his presence on the field, which is a big deal. A big deal when you look and realize that this team that's winning with their run game is averaging 3.3 yards per carry without Debo during that span. That's scary. It feels like a little bit of a mirage. So how are you going to supplement that? Hasty? I don't know. I think it's probably your first round pick. Anyway, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So that's how we do it. Look for those short routes. If not, if we got Jimmy trying to Kurt Warner it, I don't like it.
Hey, and again, if Jimmy's going down, if he's having a bad game, tell him he's hurt. Hey, like you did last time, and it's Trey's turn. Tell him he's hurt because you can't lose this game. You cannot lose this game. He's 1-4 against this team. You can't assume that he's going to beat him.
Also, if we beat them, this is like the proverbial David and Goliath. But when Goliath finally goes down, like they're on their way out. All we got to do is a couple more stone throws, and they're done. They may not be back for another 5-6 years.
This is the Niners. This is our chance to give Russell Wilson his first losing season ever. This would be their 9th loss.
And then guess what? He's out of there. He's out of there. This team won't look the same for maybe another half a decade or so because the dynamics of everything that's going on, even with Metcalf and even with the other guy, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make the same sense without Russell. He's been the one making it happen for the last 10 years. Honestly,
it feels like everyone's gonna flee. It's a crime scene, and everyone's gonna flee it in about 2 months. Hey man, I gotta take more calls, but you killed it as always. Thanks for calling in.
Hey man, thanks, Grant.
All right, take care. Dave again. Appreciate you, Dave. Jimmy is Jimmy. I bought my first Niner jersey ever in 2019, and it's Bosa. I bought my Lance jersey day after drafts. Let's see Lance more. Kyle, what news is Jimmy going to show us? Trey can do this. That's the thing. Jimmy is Jimmy. Every week there's like a referendum. What'd you think of Jimmy? Was Jimmy good this week? Jimmy was the same quarterback that we always argue about. I'm with you, Dave. Nana Collins Jr., you're up next. Hold on. Boom. Boom. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Grant? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing too good. Doing good. I got the house to myself. My girl and my baby, they went to go visit his grandma. She lives in Mexico. So I'm going to be able to scream. I've been able to scream a lot since the baby's here, but I'm going to be able to scream this Sunday. There's got to be the Seahawks game, so of course. Actually, I live in Spokane, Washington, so it's going to be they can get the win.
Is it as rainy by you as it is over here?
No. It snowed like last week, but not nearly as rainy as over there in Seattle, so yeah.
All right. Well, what's on your mind today?
What's on my mind is the Niners' troubles against the Seahawks. Like the last time they've beaten Seattle by double digits in Seattle was back in 2011. That hasn't happened since. Games have always been super close against Seattle, and we've always come up on the losing end, it seems like. And for me, the Seattle Seahawks are like Green Bay.
They won 19-17 in Seattle in 2011. Sorry. They won by 2. I don't know that they've ever won by double digits in Seattle. Yeah, that was probably when I was in high school.
Yeah, it was 2011. It was a 2011.
No, they won 19-17 in Seattle that year. I'm telling you, it goes way back. It goes way before then. Oh, yeah, wow. I got you. Right. I got you.
Oh,
yeah. Well, it's a long streak, man. It's a good point.
Yeah, but no, like my is like for the Niners, Seattle's just like Green Bay was for the Niners in the late 90s. Just could not beat them, no matter what they did, no matter how hard they tried.
I used to get so mad when I was a kid watching those games. I used to get so mad.
Brett Favre would just
hated Brett Favre.
The Niners, like
I felt just like Ben Stiller in Something About Mary, man. I hated Brett Favre. God. Anyway, keep going.
Exactly, and it's just like it's one of those things. I don't think it has really anything to do with game planning. Everybody talks about keys to the victory. It's one of those things. The Seahawks have been the Niners' bugaboo, and I think ever since that Cam Chancellor hit Vernon Davis in that game, the Seahawks have owned the Niners. Like, it's just after that game, the Niners have never been the same. That rainy game after they beat the Patriots, they went to Seattle and they just got throttled in that game.
That was 2012. Real quick, I'll never forget that. I was covering that game with my dad. We were in New England. We both picked the Niners to beat New England. We both picked New England to beat the Niners. The Niners won. It was dramatic. We came and everyone in the world expected the Niners to beat Seattle. And Seattle was good that year too. And we were at the Metropolitan Grill at the bar, and we were talking to the bartender, and we told him we were sports writers, and we were covering the game. And he said, "Oh, so who do you think's going to win?" And we laughed. We were like, "Well, the Niners are going to win." And he looked at us. He's like, "You guys have no idea what you're talking about." And we looked at him like, "Man, these Seahawks fans are real homers." And the Niners got destroyed, eviscerated. And we're like, "Damn, I guess they know what they're talking about." So yeah, I remember that. Eviscerated.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. But if I do have to pick a key for the game, it's just they have to take advantage of the situations, because it seems like every time they do play Seattle early on, and it happened last year too, they stop Russell Wilson early. They get him off the field. They get him 3 and outs, but then when they get on offense, they just don't take advantage. They got to get down the field. They got to score, whether it's running, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo having a good game. They just got to get touchdowns, because like one of your other callers said, you don't want to get in a situation late in the fourth. You're up by 3. Wilson's going to hit a deep pass, and then you're going to lose a game. And it happens so many times. Like, the games aren't blowouts that the Niners are losing to against Seattle. It's just that they can't finish the job. Like, just like in 2019, they couldn't finish the job. And then even the game that they beat them, it came close to like a inch that Greenlaw stops the tight end from getting in. So, like, they'll have big leads against Seattle, but Seattle always comes back. They have to figure out a way to contain them, contain Russell Wilson, which is also their bugaboo. They have trouble against mobile QBs, and it's one of those things, man. It's unpredictable.
We'll see how it plays out, man. I got to take some more calls before the buzzer, but you killed it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take the thing down. All right. Franklin, man.
How you doing, Grant?
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Just college and working. How about yourself?
Man, it looks like a nice day in Baton Rouge.
Oh, bro, it is. It's not too hot, or it's not raining. It's been raining like for 3 weeks.
Okay. It looks gorgeous. It looks glorious. Enjoy it. I can see why you're outside.
Come out here. It's nice.
Yeah.
Man, but
all right, man. What's on your mind?
But I haven't been on too long because I was making some gumbo. I was making a pot of gumbo.
For real?
Yeah, I actually was.
Okay. I bet that's good.
It's on low. But
okay.
I don't know if anyone said anything about this, but are we fully aware how bad Seattle's secondary is?
Talk about it.
It's like Seattle really have no one on their entire defense. The only players that are good on Seattle defense is really just Bobby Wagner.
Well,
I don't.
You also got Jamal Adams, but he's like a pass rusher, right? He just blitzes. He's not really in the secondary. Yeah, he's in the box and he's blitzing, right? Yeah, he's not really in the secondary.
No, sir. I think the key notes to beating Seattle, and in my opinion, I haven't seen a 49er quarterback take advantage of a weakened defense like this since I've seen Alex Smith. And that's no notch against really anyone. I haven't fully seen too much of Trey Lance to fully get a grasp of what he can do at this level. But Alex Smith was the last quarterback that I've seen who, when you play a defense of this caliber, it will be like, bro, come on now.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
shouldn't even need your number one. I mean, Jamal Adams, don't get me wrong, Jamal Adams is a really, really great
But he's not a coverage player. They don't even put him
no,
in coverage. It's like
God
play the
no.
run and blitz. Yeah.
It's
So
like
yeah, it's like if Jimmy's as good of a everyone's saying he's statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the last few weeks. Hey man, you got a terrible secondary, a 3-8 team. You may not be able to run the ball like you have the last few weeks. You don't have Debo, but you still have
it's,
IU, Kittle. You should be able to pass the ball against this team. You should be.
you really should
Everyone
be.
does, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone does.
And that's another
But
thing. There's a lot of there's a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo fanboys that say for the last few weeks, Jimmy has been one of a top 5 quarterback. I just be sitting back looking at it like, bro, why does he need fewer attempts than everyone else
right,
if he's really that good?
right. It's a good
It's
point.
like, bro, if you're that good, why don't you stop relying on the running game? You really haven't really played a really good cornerback. I could put Patrick Peterson against Ayuk. 9 times out of 10, Ayuk is right there open.
Yeah. Yeah. Franklin, I got to take a few more calls, but I always appreciate you calling in, man.
Nah,
Go
right.
go have a little gumbo for me in my honor.
All
All
right,
right.
no problem.
Later, man. Milwaukee, Dave says, I'm awake here in Seoul. No shirt and laying on my bed. I was going to say hi, but then you'd yell at me, meanie. Yeah, man. You gotta be wearing a shirt out of bed to be on the show, but I appreciate you. Great to see you, man. Ethan, what's up?
Sup, Grant? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Is that Debo?
Debo, do I got his
Oh, he
rookie?
ain't playing. He ain't playing.
I already knew. It's all good. It's all good. We got Ayuk and Kittle, and
Yep.
hopefully they'll step up. But I guess to answer the question of the show, the first thing I want to say is I think this is the first time we're going to see the Niners hand Seattle a very easy loss. Like,
oh wow.
I think that if the Niners at any point get up or create a turnover or create any momentum shift, I don't think Seattle is strong enough to kind of gel back from it.
That's good call. That is good call. That is good call. I'm with you, man. They're 3-8. Like they're like in the coffin, right? Like you just have to close the coffin at this point.
Yeah, and it's all between Carroll and Russell Wilson. Like I'm starting to feel like that team doesn't really believe in Carroll, and they feel like as though Russell may not even want to be there. So it's kind of like,
what are we doing here? We don't believe in you. He's good, but he doesn't want to be here. We're screwed.
Like they have a bunch of dudes that are just making game checks right now. Like they're not really a full team. That's what I don't get the vibe.
It's not like week 4 when the Seahawks were like they didn't realize how big of a dumpster fire they were in week 4. Now they're 3-8. They know where this is going.
Yeah, like when was the last time we've seen Russell Wilson 3-8? Like never.
Ever. Never, ever. Right. Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if this is the first time we see the. Yeah, no, that's why it wouldn't surprise me if this is the first time we see the Niners kind of like, I don't know, easily beat the Seahawks. But
right, because it's like the Seahawks may not even want to be there. The Niners can just go home.
Yeah, like I
load up
just takes one big play.
Yeah.
But okay, so the main thing I want to touch on was kind of some prediction stuff. So I think the Niners will beat the Seahawks. I don't think they'll beat the Bengals. I think every other game is a win except the Rams, which may be a toss-up just because I feel like they're going to want to bring it. Like, they're not happy that we just keep destroying them.
10-7?
Yeah. And the Rams are still in the playoffs, so they're still, like, fighting. So I think the Ram game will be a toss-up. But to me, one thing I want to talk about is Jimmy's trade value and why he's going to be easier to move than we think. And so I think if he can stay healthy the rest of the season and the Niners finish out the way I think they will finish out, like we will be able to get maybe like a second or first for him. And I'll explain why. So there's teams right now that I'm looking at, like the Steelers, the Browns, the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Texans. I don't see the Browns staying with Baker Mayfield. I feel as though if they put Jimmy in it, he could run the offense so much more efficiently. Like, because they're already relying on the running backs. They're already relying on short passing game. So to put in a veteran quarterback who has proven to be able to execute an offense, I feel like that's something they would like. And that's only the really piece they're missing. Their defense is really good. The rest of their offense is stacked. Like, they really just need a quarterback that can execute. And then there's the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Texans. Now,
wait, real quick, dude. I love you, man, but I just really disagree with the whole Jimmy Garoppolo trade market thing. And I know I'm on my own on this one, but let's think about it from this perspective. Stop being a Niner fan for a second. You're a Browns fan now. You're now a Browns fan. And the Browns just traded maybe a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's $27 million on your cap, 13%. How do you feel? How are you feeling right now, Browns fan? What's your instant reaction?
See, that's the
Give me
thing.
the honest reaction.
I feel like if you're not really a part of the Niner fan base and you're not really looking at all these reports, you're not paying attention to these practices, like the whole perception of Jimmy is like he's a winner. Like, he can bring a winning culture to your team. Like, the whole thing was that every time Jimmy doesn't play, Kyle loses. And it's
you're saying a Browns fan would know better, but you do know better, and actually you wouldn't do
and
that.
even then, like, I feel like Jimmy on this team does more of a disservice than Jimmy on a different team. Like, he holds back this team. But with the Browns, like, their schemes, like, they're not a big play offense. Kyle likes big plays. He just limits his offense because Jimmy can't do that.
Sure.
But I feel like there are teams who are in positions right now where they kind of just need, like, it comes down to desperation, where they need a quarterback who can just execute for their team and provide a veteran presence. And on top of that, I don't know if Jimmy still has his trade clause still active, like, this year.
Not for next year. No, not for next year.
Okay, so what I was going to say, if Jimmy wants to go to a good team and actually be on a team he can, like, somewhat compete on, he's going to have to renegotiate his contract. Like, there's no way. Like, if he wants to go to a good team that doesn't have as much cap space because they're actually in the middle of something, like, he's going to have to renegotiate. Otherwise, he's going to put himself in a bad position. I think Jimmy knows he's not worth $27 million. So, like, I don't know. I feel like Jimmy's smart enough to recognize that if he wants to put himself in the best spot, which is what he's been doing all year. He's been being the perfect quarterback. He hasn't been saying anything bad to the media. He's perfect role model right now. So to me, I don't know. I see Jimmy renegotiating and getting traded for maybe like a second, at most, maybe a first if a team is really that desperate and he gets to that point like later in the season. But yeah, that's how I feel on that.
Thank you, Ethan. Great call.
Problem, Grant. See you around, man.
All right, man. Dave says, I'm just making up for all your other shows that I don't get to watch live. Love for Rob, Jesse, Sybil, and Jack. Get rid of Jimmy and let's get it. Dave, you're killing me, man. Thank you so much. My thing with the Jimmy trade and his market is that I don't think there's any team in the league that looks at Jimmy as a franchise quarterback. The Niners certainly don't. That's why they traded 3 first-round picks to replace him. Maybe New England did. But New England has their guy. Jimmy's a bridge quarterback at this point who's got 1 year left on his deal and it's expensive. I think teams will just be like, well, just sign him in the future because he's a year-to-year guy at this point anyway. And if from Jimmy's perspective, he could take a pay cut or not. I mean, I think he probably wants to make $27 million next year. And if some team is content, like says, well, we'll trade for you, but he has to take a pay cut, like, no, just cut me and I'll choose where I get to go. That seems to be preferable. I think Jimmy's going to want that $27 million next year. I would. $27 million sounds like a lot of money. It sounds like something I would want. All right. Darius.
Yeah, how you doing, Grant, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Very blessed, bro. Just want to say that this is an honor. I've been trying to talk to you for a long time, and my phone has not allowed it. So hopefully this goes right. I got 4 bars, but for some reason it keeps dropping, man. But
you're gonna jinx it right now.
Let's get the dopest show that I've seen, and straight up. So I got some Jimmy facts, right?
Yeah.
When he throws less than 30 times, he's 19-5. That's his record. 119, lost 5. When he throws more than 30 times, he's 7-8. Now, I believe you said he had got hurt twice out of the 4 times.
Can you say that one more time?
Seattle?
Because I was busy looking at myself in the camera. Can you say that stat one more time?
All right. So, Jimmy Garoppolo, when he throws less than 30 times, he's 19-5. When he throws more than 30, he's 7-8.
That's a hell of a statistic. Thank you, Darius.
Man, listen. So I add that with what you told us as far as he's seen Seattle 4 times and he had got hurt twice. I really don't see Kyle leaving the game plan, which is to run. Like for the past 5 games, I would say he has been consistent with that. He hasn't diverted from it when they loaded the box. Uh, he still sticks with it, and I really know. I just feel like it's common sense. Like we already have to depend on Jimmy. Like you said, we do have to put the game kind of on his shoulders, but not so detrimental. It's like, can you just make the layups, please? Like that's not asking you for too much. You'll still get your slants. Please look for Mitchell in the flat because for some reason when he's always looking away from where the action is at, and that's really irritating. But I mean, more
I
or
just
less,
don't understand. That dude, your stat is crazy. 7 and 8 when he has to throw more than 30 times. Oh, franchise quarterback has to throw more than 30 times sometimes. Whoa! And the last caller was over here saying that I was going to get a first round pick for
right,
Jimmy Garoppolo. Hey man, the next time might know that. The next team might know that stat. Damn, 7 and 8.
Listen, right? So it's like how can you really depend on him like that to just throw when you know this about your quarterback?
And about your team. It's not just your quarterback. It's like your team can't win with him doing that. Maybe another team could, but your team can't. Wow.
You know what? I don't even know if it's another team, Grant, just based on the fact the way that Kyle had coached this man for the past 5 years. There's some type of mental distress going on with Jimmy. Like, there's no way in hell you can keep taking this abuse and then keep smiling at the cameras like it's all good. You know, he's asking you, like, can you do this shit? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Yada, yada, yada.
The same thing happened with Derek Carr and Gruden, in my opinion. I thought Carr played a lot better for Del Rio, who isn't even a good coach. I mean, he's a decent coach, but Gruden is so negative. Carr is such a people pleaser. You could just see Carr. Anyway, Darius, I got to take some more calls, but you killed it. Please call in again. All right, man. Eli, I'm trying to go quick because we got I'm overtime. I'm doing overtime here. Eli.
Hey, Grant.
What's up, man?
Hey, good to be back on, man.
Yeah,
I'll make it quick because I know you're trying to get more calls, though.
Yeah.
So one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way, I was watching the press conferences. I think it was, when was the last one that you were, was it Friday or yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Ayuk was up there, his last question was, would you ever think about doing what Debo does, like lining up in the backfield? And his response, like immediately right away, he was like, "Oh, no." And to me, that kind of like
Kittle said the same thing. Kittle said the same thing a few weeks ago. They asked him, he was like, "No, it's painful. That's really hard."
Right. And to me, like, I'm a college athlete, right? I play baseball here. Like, if my coach wants me to do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yes,
whatever.
Sir.
Exactly. For the team to win. And it could be different because he's a pro, you know, he's got to protect his body. I get that. But like, that just shows me like his mentality. Like maybe that's what he was struggling with. That's why he was in the doghouse earlier in the season, because he wasn't willing to run block. He wasn't willing to do the physical stuff that Kyle wanted him to do.
And if you've been watching recently, his blocking's been terrific. So maybe little things like that. Yeah, that's true. But it's one of the things that's so special about Debo is that he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Sure, coach. And I'll be the best." Really
exactly. Exactly. That's the kind of thing I want from a receiver. But anyway, Ayuk needs to have a huge game, like you were tweeting all on Twitter. He needs to have probably his biggest game of the season. And if he does, I think it could show us that he's worth that first rounder that we gave up for him.
Everyone's expecting Kittle to go off, but I just feel like he hasn't really been 100% healthy all year, and Ayuk has. So I'm expecting Ayuk to step up.
Yeah, and I also think Kyle's not throwing to Kittle as much because he wants to save him for playoffs. And I think he sees us making it to playoffs. But anyway, another thing I want to bring up is our defense, specifically our pass rush. We have not been getting any type of pressure whatsoever besides that one sack that Bosa had in the last.
Bosa's the whole thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what Russell can do when he has no pressure on him. We've seen it year after year. He does it every single time. That's why I'm really worried about this game because, you're calling it a trap game, and I kind of agree with it. But like, I can also see our fan side saying, "Oh, we're the way better team. Seattle hasn't been this bad ever since Russell was playing." But I don't know if we can't get no pass rush. It's going to be a long day. And Kyle predicting the score and the press conference being so close. Have you ever seen?
Never. Yeah. So why? There's a reason he did it. Because he understands, like, look, everyone thinks we're going to win. My players probably think they're going to win. I have to say something wild like this. Like, I'm going to make a prediction. It's going to be close. It's almost like he said, hey, I bet you we lose. I bet you we lose.
Yeah.
He was this close to saying that.
He's already covering his ass in case they lose.
So funny, man. So funny. Hey, I was right. I called it. I lost, but I was right. Yeah.
If they lose, he's going to come to the press conference after the game.
Told you. Hey, am I right?
It's going to be a close game.
Future.
Yeah.
Hey,
and
where you go to school again?
I'm sorry?
Where do you go to school again? Sorry.
K-State here in Kansas. Cool. But I'm from Texas. I'm from Arlington. I live right next to the Cowboys Stadium. But anyway.
And you happen to be a Niner fan just because you're a troll? I love it.
No. My family, I've been a Niners fan for my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Lance, I want to see some of him, but I don't know. Kyle has not even been looking his direction on the sidelines at all.
Yeah.
So, but if he was smart, like if I was Kyle, like you were saying, those play fakes that Jimmy does, like what is this bull? Like when he hands it off and then he, like no one's falling for that, bro. If Lance was in there, they'll have 11 on 11 like you're supposed to. But
yeah,
man, I don't know. And then lastly, just a little troll, a little what you think of it. So Jamal has had 2 interceptions his last 2 games, and you know when Harrison Smith was last game, they just run that cover 1 robber. And they have the safety come down in the middle of the field. I'm like, bro, finally someone.
Finally.
Exactly.
It took this long.
Jimmy
and I think
only throws to the middle of the field. Yeah. So just bring your safety down to cover the middle. So I was thinking,
because if you play split safeties against Jimmy, he's just going to hit the hole between them all day.
Exactly. Exactly. He was trying to look him off, but Harrison was like, you're not throwing there. I'm going to cover the middle. But anyway, do you think Jamal will get a pick? They run that same concept. You think Pete Carroll will call that same concept?
I mean, Jimmy's going to force it. Jimmy will force it. So
he always does.
Yeah, and if that's how the Niners lose this to the Seahawks is committing more turnovers. That's
what do you? Last question: are you predicting the Niners to lose? Are you predicting?
No, I'm not. I know they should win this game, but I don't have that much confidence that they will. But I mean, if they get Trey Lance involved, they definitely have the pieces to win.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
Yeah, but my prediction for the game, I agree with Kyle, is going to be a close game. Is going to come down to the last possession, but I actually think we'll be down by 1 or 2, and then Robbie was going to have to hit a game winner. And if he misses, bro, I don't know if you've been talking to Jason Aponte recently. He's saying kickers don't deserve rights. They don't deserve these contracts. If he misses that, I want him cut the next day.
He's one of the highest paid players on the team. It's amazing.
There's no reason for us to be paying a kicker $8 million.
Eli got to take some more, but it's a great call, man. Thank you for calling in.
Appreciate
Have a good one. All right. Freddie.
What's up, Mac Mother Cohn?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Hey, I'm a little hurt, Graham, a little offended. I didn't get my shine last week. I didn't make the cut. I guess I didn't come.
I didn't cut you up. Man, I'll cut you up.
No, it's not because I came a little soft, but I think I had the best insight because I was talking about the leaks, and that was like your biggest story this week.
All right. Well, I'm here. You get another chance right now.
Okay.
You got.
All right. I watch your show, so I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. Okay. I think the leak are Jed and Parag, and here's why. I think Daddy York came and said, it's you or Kyle. This could be Jed's last time as the lead. So Jed wants to put everything out there like, okay, this was what John said, this is what Kyle said, and he's going to let the dominoes fall where they fall. So it's Jed.
Here's the way I look at it. I think there's different leaks. I mean, there's some leaks saying Jimmy could come back, and there's other leaks saying Jimmy won't come back. That's what's so intriguing. It seems like there's 2 different factions talking to each other indirectly through the media.
But that's
to me, the Jimmy faction, though, I don't think that's York. York signed off on the trade for Lance. I think York liked the plan of play Jimmy 1 year, transition to Lance, trade Jimmy. I think there's a plan that he signed off on. There's some rogue element in the organization that's like, all right, let's push Jimmy. And I don't know where that's coming from. I have my theories, but I don't think it's Jed. I think it's someone else.
Okay, I feel you. And
might be the person who traded for him.
And then my other second thing, Nostradamus, we can't. I'm sorry, I'm against signing Debo. If you look at trends in NFL, look, Henry's gone. When these guys get used up, they get used up. That's how coaches look at running backs. Priest, Holmes, Sean, after big years, 2,000-yard years, they're done.
Yeah. So if you had to choose sign one person long term, Bosa or Debo? Who would it be?
I want to get the Mosleys, Shazirs. I want to lock those guys up and then get the big ticket. The Ramses, those type. I don't know who's available, but when those guys become available, like a Metcalf become available, I'll trade Metcalf for Debo right now.
The thing that's scary about Debo is that he's never gonna have a full season. Like Bosa had a full season as a rookie. He had a full season. He's gonna probably have a full season this year. Missed a year last year, but when he doesn't have nagging injuries. He has catastrophic injuries. But Debo it's like every time he touches the ball, you're thinking, oh, this could be the one where he pulls his groin. And I don't see how you can have that guy making $16 million a year.
And you said it though. See, that's why I watch you, because I'm like, I try to hit my friends, but they don't want to hear the truth. Cohn's
not ready. They're not ready. Hey, Freddie, I'm gonna cut this one up. Thanks, Freddie.
All right.
For sure. AK, what's up?
Hey, what up, G? Man,
What's up?
appreciate you picking me again.
Of course, man. What's going on?
Hey, so number one, about why Trey has not been playing in the last, since week 3. Here's my theory.
Okay.
First off, Trey's our backup quarterback. We need him to start for the eventual Jimmy injury. Now, it already happened against Arizona. And the thing is, you put Trey in spot duty where he's coming up over the middle, that's going to risk him getting injury. And guess who we'll have then as our backup? Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that Kyle is saving Trey because he knows that Jimmy's going to have his eventual injury. Most likely, it could be this week, could be next week, it could be the playoffs, in which he's going to have to bring Trey in on a whim.
Could be this week. Could be tomorrow.
I mean, I hope not.
And that's the pattern against Seattle, but yeah, I hope not.
And then the second thing is about Bosa, about mentioned about trading Bosa. I have to agree with you on that, because with him coming up, under with his new contract, he's probably going to want like 25, 30, 35 million a year. And the thing is, you pay him that kind of money, especially with his injury history, then where's the money to pay guys like Al-Shair, Mosley,
right?
If he ever gets healthy, Kinlaw, as well as others. And the thing
guys
is,
have to go at that point.
And the thing is, you go too top heavy on a roster, opponents will be able to scheme against those stars and then exploit the weaknesses. Look at the Rams now, how they went all top heavy. And now, like with Aaron Donald, for example, you can scheme against him by throwing it in 2.2 seconds.
I'll tell you something real quick. I got to take another call in a second, but this is a really interesting point. Nick Bosa is great, but the best pass rusher in the league, according to Trent Williams, is Chandler Jones. When they play the Cardinals, he says, that's the best of the best. I love this matchup. No disrespect to Nick Bosa. Chandler Jones was originally drafted by the Patriots. They recognize that he's great, but instead of paying him all that money, they traded him to Arizona. And I think they would do it again because they just don't want to spend that much money on one player who's not a quarterback. I mean, they don't even want to spend that much money on a quarterback either. So if Bill Belichick would trade Chandler Jones, maybe the Niners should consider trading Nick Bosa for the same reasons. AK Niner, great call.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good one. Daniel, you're up next. Just real quick. Shanahan's offense is complex, so maybe Jimmy could thrive on a team with a more basic offense. I think a team other than us can offer that. Yeah, but he's a bridge quarterback. What team wants Jimmy and his inability to throw down the field? I mean, New England did, but other teams, I think they might like him for a year as they develop a draft pick. Grant, seems like you pick on Ayers sometimes. Who? Right now it's Kittle. Players. Kittle is a beast. We just needed him back block lately. Jimmy's average. Okay, well, they need him to catch today. So let's see if he can catch the ball a lot, more than just a couple of times. I'm just saying. What's up, Daniel?
Yo, Grant, how's it going, man? First time.
Thanks for waiting, man. How
Always
you doing?
the super chats, but figured I'd give you a call one time.
Appreciate you, man.
Real quick. I don't know. I feel like Belichick, is ahead of the curve when it comes to getting rid of players right before he has to pay them. That's not something we've ever really done, though.
No.
Right? So,
No, Bill Walsh, no.
But then, like, Bill Walsh and them really didn't have the same.
Good point. No salary cap. Different era. You're right.
Okay. Main reason why I called in is one, I love you, but sometimes you drive me crazy during the week. It is what it is.
It's fair.
But
it's my job.
So the whole Ian Rappaport the Niners are definitely not, keeping Jimmy around. Well, that's not coming from Lynch because Jimmy's Lynch's guy, right? So my theory on it is that's coming from Papa Shanahan. Because we know Kyle doesn't want Jimmy. And all these rumors that Jimmy's staying around another year isn't coming from the Shanahans. If they keep...
See, that one to me felt like a classic Jed. Classic Jed Lee. Jed Parag, that one. But it could be Mike too. That's an interesting one. Because to me, you could, and I don't know, maybe Ian Rappaport. Ian said basically no one told me anything. I was just regurgitating old stuff, which is just hard to believe. But if that's not the case, it just seems like you could see Jed or Parag sort of noticing these leaks and being like, we need to do something. We got to address this. We got to address it. Because this is sort of like getting spoken into existence.
Right.
Jed really didn't close the door either when at the beginning of the season he's like, we could have Jimmy. You know what I mean? So like if it is Jed, then he's like, he also put his foot in the mouth at the beginning of the season by making that comment, early on.
But that comment is he could come back if they make a Super Bowl run, whatever that is.
Right.
And he said that again. So
yeah, I just they stress themselves on not being a team that leaks stuff, and all of a sudden, like they can't.
Boom. All of a sudden, they can't keep their stuff in house. Crazy.
Leaking. Real quick, the other thing I wanted to call out, Debo. You got to pay Debo. He, like, the fan base would turn on the organization if they like. What I noticed as being a Niner fan is a lot of Niner fans fall in love with their favorite players. Right? They love with players here in San Francisco. Yeah. We're like, we love the guys who, we consider going all out for the team. That's why, Debo is one of those guys, right? Even though he gets hurt, he's one of
Bill Belichick can do whatever he wants because he's won 1 million championships. The Niners don't have that. So, like, actually a lot of the players are more popular in the front office. So,
yeah, we'll pay Nick, and then we'll just have a 6-10 team.
Look, I fully expect the Niners to re-sign Debo and Nick Bosa. I'm just saying, like, would the Patriots do it? Is my question. But no, you're right. They will.
They'll keep them.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, it is what they do. So it's like it's one of those double-edged swords. Being a Niners fan, it's like you love these guys, but you know what's going to happen, right? Like they're going to eat up the cap, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
I was talking to Vish about this today. It seems to me that like a lot of teams in the NFL have excellent players. Like there are a lot of bad teams that have 5-6 really good vets who make a lot of money. But what really separates teams is the ones that have 5 or 6 guys who are really good and not making anything. Like, remember when the Niners went to the Super Bowl 2 years? They had Kittle making nothing, Warner making nothing, Bosa making nothing, Debo making nothing. There were more. I mean, that's 4 huge. Buckner hadn't gotten paid yet. Armstead hadn't gotten paid yet. Like, a lot of really great players getting paid bupkis. And now all those guys have gotten paid or they're gone. And now the only guys who are giving the Niners tremendous value are Debo, Elijah Mitchell, Nick Bosa, Aziz. I'll show you those guys, but it's not as many. And that's why they're 6-5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's one of those things. It's like they're going to have to pay them if they move on from them. If you were to move on from players like that, you have to have a GM that's as strong as Belichick who could turn trading a Debo into 2-3 draft picks that all hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Someone you trust.
Raiders getting rid of Khalil Mack and turning that into nothing with all the draft.
Good point. Like, that could have been a good pick. It could have been a good trade, but you actually have to get the picks right, and they didn't. And what's the Niners' track record drafting in round 1? Not good.
What's their draft record in the top 3 rounds?
Not good.
Not good.
They really should just be focusing all their assets in round 5 and 6.
And 5 fifth rounds and 2 6th rounds for Debo.
That would actually be a good value. Daniel, great call, man.
Hey, Grant, thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
Love your dad. Hopefully he is back in January, and much love to you and the family.
Thank you very much. All right, I got to end the show there. Jacob, sorry. Lurk TV, sorry. I'm 20 minutes overtime. I got my wife in town. We're gonna go hit the town. Jacob, I'll get you next time. I appreciate you. Lurk TV, sorry. End of the show. I'll be back tomorrow at CenturyLink.